If you clicked on this video, I bet you try to change, but before you know it, you've fallen straight back to your old ways. Or you constantly engage in negative self-talk, saying, I can't, or I'm not capable of. Or you engage in bad habits when you don't want to, and then you feel guilty after. If any of these resonated with you, you're not alone. I've fought with and bested all three of these exact scenarios. And let me tell you, the root problem is your lower self. And the solution to all of your problems is to kill that lower self. And that's what this video is about. I'll give you an understanding of and some strategies to finally put an end to that lower self. If that sounds good with you, let's get into it. Have you felt two distinct voices in your head? One telling you absolute shit and keeping you away from your goals. It's that voice in your head telling you, oh, it's alright to skip that workout. I won't miss much. Or being able to justify to yourself that this binge right now is good and I deserve this. I've had a long day of stress. I deserve this. Or being able to justify some other bad habit because everyone else does it. Because if everyone else does it, that means it's good, right? Or the biggest lie of them all. I'll do it later. I'll do it tomorrow. Yeah, because that's true as well, right? You'll really do it tomorrow. Yeah. That happens every single time. You say to yourself, I'll do it tomorrow, and you do it tomorrow. This is basically your lower self speaking and being in control. This is what's ruining your life. And then on the other side, you have your evolved self. The self that's telling you to go out and achieve more, that you can and you're capable. Again, you can. This is the highest version of yourself that you deem capable. This is what you live up to. This is your ideal. It's the self who does the work without procrastinating. It's the you who goes to the gym every day when you say you're going to go, without making bullshit excuses. It's when you stick to your diet. It's when you don't allow those negative thoughts to ruin and control your life. It's when you're doing all of the right habits and you feel like you're genuinely making progress towards your goal. Well, those two selves are currently battling it out for control. They're engaged in a brutal war right now, and whoever wins the majority of the time, that is who determines your current life quality and your trajectory. If your lower self is winning, your trajectory is going to go fucking down. If your evolved self is winning, just 50% or more, then that's when your life trajectory starts going up. And that's why everything you want in life, your happiness and success, is on the other end of defeating your lower self. To succeed, I hope you understand that you must begin to identify with that evolved self, the one who says, I can, and not your lower self who says, I can't. Everything you want in life, your happiness, your success, is on the other end of defeating your lower self. And to do that, you have to begin identifying with, more often than not, your evolved self, saying, I can. And that's when you need to grab your lower self by the throat, chuck him in the back of your car, tie him down, and then throw him in the ocean. Because you don't want that shit in your life anymore, do you? No, you don't. Okay, so this lower self, keeping you from everything you want in life. It's when you're being weak. It's when you're giving into comfort. It's you being a loser when you know you fucking shouldn't be doing that shit, man. It's you giving into negativity, and it's you being weak. Fucking nice. Yep. Weak twice. Yeah, make sure not to be weak. And then it's identifying with your evolved self. It's when you're being strong. It's when it's your desired reality where you're successful, where you're a winner. You seek discomfort, you seek pain. Also, this isn't like physical pain. You don't want to stub your toe or hurt yourself. It's pain in the mind of like doing the work when you know you shouldn't, or facing the discomfort of talking to a girl, something like that. And then you're confident and you can actually do the shit you say you want to do without being held back by any of these. This lower self is keeping you from everything you want in life. And this should make your blood boil. This should piss you off. Because it's your own thoughts. It's your own thoughts that are doing this to you. Your own thoughts can justify all of that shit, all of those bad habits. And you want to know how? How they're able to do that? It's because it's working for your body. It's working for survival. When you're giving into comfort, it's because your body doesn't want to change. It doesn't want to face discomfort. It doesn't want to go out into the wild when you already have everything that you need. It's biologically wired to stay in its comfort zone. Okay, so now the goal is to kill your lower self, and it's to begin identifying with and completely change into your evolved self all of the time. And that's what you have to do in order to win. Change isn't easy. I want you to understand this point. Change, anything you want to do in life requires a change, and our automatic behaviors are they're automatic. So much of our life is routine and already set in stone. And in order to get what we want, in order to be more happy or achieve more success, we have to change. It's when you try and change and you feel like literally everything against you and nothing can work for you. And honestly, it feels like that because it's true. Your belief systems and your thoughts, the majority of them aren't working for you. They work to maintain homeostasis, the base survival instinct. It's like you're trying to paddle up a river against the wind. You have everything against you, and your bloody boat is leaking now as well, and you have to grab some water, take it out, do some paddling while you're trying to maintain against the wind, trying to be pushed downriver. It feels like so much work to fundamentally change. And that's why so many people don't actually change. So many people say they'll join the gym, get into shape. So many people start a health kick and they want to be more healthy, but long-lasting change is so rare in people these days. Why is that? It's because of what I just mentioned. It feels like you're fighting the world. And when you try to change, your lower self begins attacking you with things like, "Oh, do it later. I don't know where to start." Or, "This bad habit, it's just who I am." And you identify with that bad habit. Or it's saying, "I can quit this bad habit anytime. Anytime. Yeah, I can quit anytime I want to." Or you're just not feeling motivated. I'm not motivated right now. And that means you just have to wait for motivation, right? Because your motivation will solve all your problems. When you feel motivated, that's when you do it. When you don't feel like doing it, just don't do it. Why would I be motivated? Why would I do it? Or it's attacking you with thoughts like, "It's too hard." And then you just give up. And all of these can be fundamentally broken down and just dispelled with a little bit of logic. I don't know where to start. Okay, start anyway. How do you learn? You learn by trying, doing something, failing, and then doing it a little bit better. Doesn't matter if you don't know where to start. I'm not motivated. Don't wait for motivation. Do it anyway. Do it regardless of how your body feels. You think all the successful people in life wake up motivated to do stuff? Every single day of their life they feel motivated? No, it's called discipline. They do it regardless of how they feel. Or, "I'll do it later." No, you won't do it later. Do it now. Tell yourself, "Do it now, do it now, do it now." I'm the type of person that does it now. Because when you say to yourself you're going to do it later, you're really not. And then when you keep putting it off, it makes the task so much harder. Or, "It's just who I am." Really? It's really just who you are. You're putting yourself in a box when you're far more capable. And what are you even basing that information on? Belief systems are bullshit anyway. I'm going to make a video on why belief systems are actually bullshit, and you can change your personality no matter what you're given in life. So subscribe and stay for that. And I can quit this anytime. Really. You know how many people say they can quit this habit anytime, but they're just coping to themselves? I know you're smarter than that, but a lot of people aren't, and it's too hard. Very simple to overwhelm. Just break it down into manageable stuff until you can do it. Break tasks down into manageable tasks. With a little bit of logic, me thinking about it for all of 2 seconds, you can dispel all of those shit little thoughts in your head that are keeping you from what you want. All of those little excuses to yourself is your lower self attacking you and trying to keep you maintained at homeostasis. When you want to change, you got to fight back. And to fight back, you got to become aware of these excuses and not give in to them. You just got to do it regardless of how you feel. Got to logically attack those thoughts you're having and just either do it regardless of how you feel, or logically analyze what you're thinking. Is it true? And then do it after. And that's what I mean by killing your lower self. You can't let these thoughts, that's how your lower self attacks you. That's the weapon they use. All of these cope excuses that keep you from doing the shit that you know you're meant to do, that's your lower self. You cannot listen. I repeat, you can't listen to this version of you. You have to win the majority of the time. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to shift your identity. You want to shift your identity, not your behavior. Obviously, you want to change the behavior, but what we want to aim for is shifting the identity. You need to work to shift your identity and your thoughts and your belief systems, who you see yourself as, before you worry about trying to change the behaviors, or do both at the same time. But focus on the identity first. It's like, say you want to go on a health kick, you want to lose all this weight, and you're hella motivated. So you're going to start running 3 times a week and then maybe going to the gym 3 times a week as well. But your motivation after a week and a half runs out. You start skipping workouts and you start that lower self that starts attacking you because change is hard. Remember that. And you fundamentally still think you're the same person as before. You still identify with those old habits, those old thought processes and those old beliefs. But no wonder you can't change. You have your lower self and you have the old self trying to get you to come back to before. You fundamentally don't think like a healthy person. You don't make decisions in line with a healthy person's identity, and you don't see yourself as a healthy person. It isn't automatic. While for me, that's kind of the opposite. For me, it's literally automatic and natural to make the healthy decisions. Like, I literally see myself as someone who needs to exercise 5 times a week. I literally have like a need to. It's literally who I am. Who I am is someone who enjoys exercise and I just eat clean. That's literally just who I am. So all of my decisions run through that like identity. I see myself as the type of person that eats clean, that exercises regularly, and that is a generally healthy person. I run all my decisions through that little operating system. And that's what you need to change, your operating system, your identity. And I'll give some strats a bit later on for actually change your identity. But for now, just understand identity, not behaviors. Break the cycle. Okay, first off, you know everything, well, not everything, obviously, but so much of our lives is automatic. It's habits, it's routines, it's automatically ingrained into us. It's like driving a car. You don't think about what you do. You don't think about turning the car on. You don't think about when you move the wheel. You don't think about how much gas you need or when you turn. You don't think about any of that. You don't think about your routine on the way to work. You don't think about how to brush your teeth. You don't think about how to put on your shoes. You don't think about how to walk. You don't think about how to breathe. All of this is just automatic. You do without thinking. You just do. And then when every aspect of our life stays the same, we have the same routine, the same day to day, and that creates the same thoughts and the same feelings. That same routine creates the same thoughts and the same feelings that then generate the same actions, and then life feels like the goddamn same all the time because you feel like you're going in a loop. It's the same thoughts lead to the same feelings, and then the feelings, they generate your behaviors and what you do. And then when everything is the goddamn same, nothing changes. And how do you break this cycle? How do we do that? Well, first off, we acquire new information. First off, to break the cycle, we have to acquire new information. Any new information such as you're reading a book, you're talking to someone, any new information from any source that challenges a current way of doing things will then alter how you think and how you feel. Or maybe you're now aware that you were doing some automatic things and you don't like the way that automatic thing makes you feel. So you now have the information in your brain. Okay, I'm not going to do that. Okay, once you acquire new information, what happens when you acquire new information? You get new beliefs. Your belief system changes because now that there's new information, your brain just fundamentally wires differently now. It's neuroplasticity. When you get new information and then you accept it, your brain changes. Like your brain is constantly changing. That's what neuroplasticity is. Watch Andrew Huberman. He has a fantastic resource and can explain that in far more better detail. It's far more credible than me to explain it anyway. And then the new beliefs form new thoughts. Then, since you're having new thoughts, you're now going to start changing your life because new thoughts, all of our actions are governed by our thoughts. So, new thoughts. What do they create? New feelings. Our body feels differently. When we think different thoughts, we start feeling different emotions. Like, I want you to try a bit of an exercise right now. Like, you probably think, okay, thoughts create your feelings. Okay, that's a bit bullshit, but okay. Okay, this is actually a good example that proves thoughts actually do create your feelings. When you're visualizing a sexy encounter with someone in your own mind and your penis gets hard, how do you explain that? Nothing's physically happening, it's all in your mind. Thoughts genuinely do. If you tell yourself over and over again, I can't, oh, I'm a shit person, I'm weak, over and over again, how is your body going to feel? It's going to send chemicals down to your body that, oh, I'm weak, and it's going to send the body language down. Or alternatively, you can say, oh, I like myself, I'm capable, I'm confident. And that's going to send signals down as well. It's the polar opposite, but still sends signals, still generates your feelings, still generates the emotions. And then when you feel when you have new thoughts and when you have new feelings, what does that generate? New behaviors. That's the chain at which new behaviors generate. When you have new beliefs, when you have new beliefs, when you have new thoughts, when you have new feelings, then when you have new information, that's when your behaviors start being in alignment with your thoughts and your body, what you believe to be true. And then the new behaviors, they manifest. Since you're now taking the action required, you now become a new you. And then to continue evolving, acquire more information, change your beliefs, change your thoughts, change your feelings, or change all of these. This is like your identity. You get some new behaviors, and then since you're doing the actions required, you will start becoming that new personality. You'll start being that evolved self. So, and it all starts with acquiring new information. And that's what this video helps you with. Okay, so by this point in the video, you should understand your lower self is the enemy. You need to shift your identity into your evolved self. You need to begin identifying, thinking, feeling, and believing that you are your evolved self, and that you need to acquire new information to break the cycle. And obviously you have to understand this cycle of how your beliefs, your thoughts, feelings create the behaviors, that creates the new, and then honestly, because then this generates that. Because you get new beliefs, because you get new beliefs about yourself. But that's the cycle initially, and then this is the cycle after. After you get the new you have new beliefs about yourself and your new current capabilities, and then again you have new thoughts, generate new feelings, and then behaviors, they either stay the same as the new you, and then you reinforce the beliefs of who you are, you become that new self. It's a cycle that you really do need to be aware of. Okay, now we're going to go into some strategies on how to fuck over your lower self. Okay, first off, we have to become painfully aware of the enemy. And by this point in the video, who do you understand is the enemy? It's yourself. It's your lower self. Because you are the enemy. So, we have to become painfully aware of the enemy. How do we do that? So, here's a bit of a wartime analogy for you. So, you know how in war, there's obviously two sides to every conflict. So, each side would want to know as much as they possibly can about the other. They need to know their strengths, their weaknesses, what they're likely to do. They need to get as much information on the enemy side as possible before they can plan out and make decisions in order to be effective and fucking win the war. You obviously need information about the enemy before you make big decisions. That's what we need to do now. We need to get information and become aware of the enemy. We have to make the unconscious conscious, because again, all of those automatic behaviors, they're unconscious. We have to make them conscious and deliberate now. You need clarity and you need understanding in order to defeat your lower self. So I want you to even spend a day. I want you to journal a few questions. I want you to figure out what are your strengths. What are you good at? If someone asks you what's your mother's strengths? What would you say about your mother? What would other people say about you? What are your weaknesses? Again, same point. What are your weaknesses? And then what are your good and bad habits? So all your habits, either good or bad, list them in a column and figure out what you actually do. And then, what are your character traits or values? And then you need to define your character traits. Are you courageous? Are you not courageous? Are you assertive? Are you decisive? Or are you not any of those things? Are you shy? Are you more social? Are you extroverted? Or are you more introverted? Write down your character traits. Like you're making a character in a fucking video game or something. And then also add your values as well. Like your main 5 values. Don't get me wrong, these are really good to understand. But the big needle movers are your limiting beliefs, or just your beliefs in general, and your common excuses. You need to be aware. You need to be aware of these two. These are the main needle movers. Because if you believe something to be true, if you believe you can't, if you truly believe that deep down, you need to work on actually uncovering and figure out why you believe that and how to actually attack that. And then the common excuses. They're those statements I had up from earlier. I can't, I don't have the time, I'm not motivated, things like that. You need to be aware of what are your main excuses are, and then again, working to understand why you constantly give those excuses, and learn to undo them. Become more aware, and then just when they fucking happen, have some courage, have some strength, have some willpower, and fucking say, no, fuck you lower self, I'm not going to allow you to fuck over my life, and then fucking don't do it. So I want you to write all these down, spend a day, spend a bunch of hours journaling, figuring out, writing yourself down, writing and understanding yourself, gaining more clarity. It's also actually relatively interesting as well. You get to understand yourself on a more deeper level. This will come in handy for literally anything you do in life, to be honest. It's not just in order to defeat your lower self, which obviously is the fucking key to everything, but understanding yourself and more self-awareness, that never hurt anyone. I've done this practice myself actually, and what I figured out was I would always binge eat. My main bad habits was binge eating, and when I binged out, it was always in the exact same scenarios. It was after I got home. It was, it was always in the evening. It was always from like the 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. zone. I would always binge eat around then. And it was always if I was unfocused or not doing anything. So I became aware that 6 to 9 p.m. I need to become painfully aware of not to binge eat, of how I feel, of maybe focus on something else. Now for the interesting stuff, the actual actionable advice on how to kill your lower self. The main enemy, how do we fucking kill him? Obviously, we gained awareness of him now. Now what? Well, probably not going to like this. Meditation. Meditation is one of the single best habits you can do for your life. When you meditate, and how you specifically meditate actually matters here. Okay. Okay, meditation. You're probably not going to like that, but it is what it is. Meditation is so spouted in the self-help industry for a reason, because it's goddamn effective at doing what it does. Okay, but how does it kill your lower self? Well, it gives you the tools to be more aware of when you're engaging in those negative thought patterns. Again, remember that loop from earlier? When you have new thoughts, you have new feelings, and then you have new behaviors, that loop from earlier. If you can break the new thoughts, when you can catch yourself having those cope justification, those thoughts, when you can catch those out, that means you're much more likely to be aware of what's happening, and you can just tell yourself, no, I'm not going to do it. Okay, how do you meditate to actually successfully do it? There's lots of videos, but the main thing is you want to sit down, close your eyes, and then focus on your breath. You want to focus. All you want to focus on is your breath. And then when you have a thought, you want to notice it and then bring your attention straight back to your breathing. As soon as you catch yourself having a thought, just go back to breathing. The goal of it isn't to get angry at yourself for having those thoughts. Your goal isn't to have an empty mind or anything like that. It's to notice the thought and then bring your attention back to it. It's focusing on your breathing. You notice you have a thought and then you bring it straight back to the breathing. This trains you to be more aware of your thought patterns, and it levels up your focus and awareness to a great degree. Also, with forming habits, there's something you have to understand. You have to understand to start easier. Start easier, so you're actually more likely to stick with it. Like, if you understand progressive overload from the gym, it's where you come in, you wouldn't expect to do 100 kilos on your 100 kilo bench press on your first day. You'd start with the bar, and then each week you'd add a few kilos until 6 months to a year, and you can then bench 100 and immediately start with 100 kilos. It's the same with building any new habit. You start easy and then work yourself up. It's being able to drop the ego and just acknowledging, right now, I'm not the type of person that meditates, so let's slowly build the habit. Start with a minute, and then each day add a little more, and then within a month you'll be at 20 minutes. It's simple. You have to strip the ego down, and that's how you actually build habits. And then also, now that we did the awareness from earlier, you're aware of all those bitch justifications. Now your brain and your thoughts are a little bit more aware. Now, when those thoughts happen, what do? You have to become aware of and just order your thoughts to shut up. And just don't accept them, don't believe them. It's literally as simple as being aware of those thoughts, being aware that they don't serve you in any way, and then just saying, nah, fuck that, nah, fuck off. I refuse to listen to that. And then just do the opposite of them. Your negative thought, those negative thoughts are telling you to go, I'll do it tomorrow. Do it right now. Do the opposite. That way it'll really kick your fucking body. And then I want you to understand, perfection isn't 100% needed. You don't need to. Every single time you have those thoughts, you don't have to catch them out. You just have to win more often than not. If 51% of the time you catch your thoughts out, you do the good habits, 49% of the time you let your lower self win, you're still going to be on an upward trajectory. So don't beat yourself up when you inevitably do fail, because unfortunately failing is part of the game. Okay, that was a long video, I know. Time for a quick summary. So your two selves, your lower and evolved self, and they're both battling for control. You need to win more than 50% of the time, and you need to be in alignment with and become your evolved self. You want to shift your identity and not your beliefs. You want to become the type of person that is healthy. You want to think healthy thoughts, because that's just who you are. And as a result of being that person, the behaviors will follow. So you want to break the cycle by getting new information. Remember that loop from earlier of how to break the cycle? It was the new information gives you new beliefs, gives you new thoughts, gives you new feelings, and then the new feelings generate the new behaviors, and the new behaviors generate the new you. Then, just loops back in on itself. So, you also want to become fully aware of the enemy, which is your lower self, by doing the journaling that I told you about. And then in order to defeat the lower self, you have to refuse to listen, and something that helps is to meditate. That gives you the awareness to catch your thoughts out when you're in those negative thought patterns. And now by understanding all this, you're more aware than 90% of people, and you're now equipped to go out and defeat the lower self and become a more happy and successful individual. So that's it. So that's it for the video. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. There's also another video that I think you'll love. Check it out. It's how young men are often miserable and how you can stop being so miserable. Thanks for watching, and bye.